I was planning on trying to operate the Rheodyne MLP777-206 valve, but I found out that all I have is the 12-pin control cable, and that's no good for us because the 12-pin control cable, which goes here in the J4 jumper block, is only good for controlling two-port valves, two-position valves I should say. I need to control this 7-port valve either through the J3 block, for which I don't have the connectors, and it's a pitch which is much less than 0.10 inches, so it's unlikely I'm going to find this among the junk connectors I have all around. My only other option is to use the J5 jumper block, which, as you can see, has 0.10 inch spaced holes, so it can accept these 0.10 inch headers soldered in there. Now, these can be cut to length. I only need 13 pins here. But in order to solder that, I need to get the PCB off the valve, and that's fairly easy to do. But the first thing you have to do is undo the connection between the stepper, the encoder, and the PCB, which is back here. Now, I already did that for you because it's kind of difficult, because back here, let me point at it, it has a little lock tab which you're going to have to struggle to undo. Here, let me show you how it goes. I don't know if it's going to focus, but see, that's the little lock tab which you have to push down. Over here, you have to push it down and then pull this thing out. So it's kind of tricky when it clicks in place. See? You have to insert your screwdriver here till it bottoms out, and then start wiggling the connector out. Oops, sorry, missed the screwdriver. There you go. There it is. Okay, now we can take the PCB off, which is just a matter of undoing these two screws. These are for mounting screws, okay? So don't bother with these. You gotta undo these, like such. And caution, once you undo these, try not to let the stepper fall off the valve body, because there's a gear train in here where the serial number is, and that has a ring gear and planetary gears, and you don't want them to fall out because they're kind of a pain in the butt to put back together. So let me get these two side screws off. I thought it clicked. There it goes. Okay, same thing here. Don't forget the washers. And now you can take the PCB assembly off. Like I said, be very careful. You don't want this to separate. If you want to know what's in there, here, have a look. I'll do it for you. See? Ring gear, planetary, sun gear. This is a pretty standard stepper. This, I think you could rip off a printer or something. Anywho. There. See? Once they're misaligned, they're a pain in the butt. I got lucky there, okay? I got lucky there. Don't you guys do this unless you absolutely need to replace the stepper or the valve body or whatever. Just try not to let this fall apart. So let's set this aside somewhere safe and focus on removing the PCB. Now, you might think it's as simple as undoing these pressure tabs, these lock tabs over here. See? But no. It has a screw attaching it to this black body here, so that's got to go before we undo these tabs. In case you're wondering what this is, it's not a transistor, it's a voltage regulator. It's part number LM7805. It's a 78XX family voltage regulator. This one is a 5-volt regulator. I am willing to bet it takes 24 volts. It dissipates a lot of heat in stepping down those 24 volts into 5 volts so it can power the rest of the board. So, like I said, that one has to go. Screw comes out. So does the heat sink. And now you can take the board off. Now I'm going to cut these to size. There's about 15 pins here, and I only need 13. And I can solder them on the other side and make a control cable for it. Once I get that done, I'll show you guys. So I have 15 pins here. I need to get rid of 2, and for that I like using flush snips. So I'm going to get rid of 2 of these, and now they should fit nicely on the PCB, just like that. Only I'm not going to solder them from this side, okay? The short pins have to go through the front side and out the back, and that's the side I'm gonna solder, okay? Because this side with the long pins is gonna go into the housing, that is, into the female connector. So what I actually have to do now is solder them here on this side. See? And wiggling them. Wiggle, wiggle. Can you see them wiggle there? Yeah, I'll bet you can. So, yeah. Now I have to get it back on the vise, back on the clamp. So let's get the soldering stuff ready. Let's get the soldering iron warmed up, and I'll be right back. I'm not too good at soldering, guys, so this might be a sloppy job. Soldering iron seems to be warm. Let's see. It's getting there. Let's bring the cable way over here. I got this little clamp on it because then I can do this, see? I can manipulate it. Hopefully with my prosthesis I'll figure something out to better manipulate this, but for the time being it works. I like to dab solder flux on the wire, on the solder tin, because sometimes it just doesn't have enough, and as Louis Rossman says, the bigger the gob, the better the job. So I'm gonna tin the tip first. I could use some sanding, but what the heck. Okay, here we go. I hate this tip. Nope, that's not the tip for the job. I'm gonna have to use my trusty old variable power soldering iron and not this component detachment one. Solder is dribbling all over the place except where I want it to go. I think I tacked it down slightly, but not good enough for me. So let's give this guy a gazillion degrees. Wait for it to warm up. Probably speed up the video here. There we go. Okie doke. Same thing here. We're gonna tin the tip. Oopsies. And keep a little water for the cleaning sponge. It's in the way though. Okay. This tip is far better. So, here's one. I'd like to say there's two, and that looks crappy. So, what I'm gonna do, put a whole bunch of flux paste on those contacts. That also helps make sure, or at least minimize the possibility of bridging contacts. You, sir, are not cooperating much. So let's see if I can make it flow better when it's horizontal. Like someone I know says, good enough for the girls I go out with. Okay. Let's see. That doesn't look too handsome now, does it? But it's gonna get the job done. Now, I need a little acetone to clean it up. Let's see how we did, shall we? Not too bad. Okay. So, I now have my 13-pin header soldered onto the 777-006 control board. Now we have to put this back together and slap it back on the valve. And there we go. Okay, so it's not too straight. See right here? It's not too straight, but good enough for the girls I go out with. Right, now all I have to do is find a 13-pin housing. Let's see where that is. I don't have 0.10 13 position connectors, so I'm hoping an 8 position plus a 5 position side by side will mate here. Let's give it a try. There's the 8. And there's the 5. It's going to be a tight fit, but it's got to work. Anyhow, I gotta get started on crimping the cable, and that's gonna take me a couple hours. I'll see you in a while.